Hello and welcome back to Technology Review. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Technology Review TV. Remember to click on 2 thumbs up. You can also find us on Twitter, twitter.com/Mac Jackson Jr. or our website, macjacksonjr.com. In this segment, we call it the New Tech Gadgets, but I also want to add into our first segment where we talked about the cyber attack with Equifax. And I just want to give a couple of comments about that. And answer the question, so what do we do now? Now that we realize that there's been a cyber attack with Equifax, with 143 million accounts being compromised, the next step is what's going to happen next? Well, there will be a lot of business regulations involved, a lot of business regulation happening. It will be legislators coming out across the country, attorney generals around the country, putting the pressure on small businesses and large corporations, the business world, to have more procedures in place, policies in place that can protect the customer's data. The customer's data, the consumer is most important here. Their information is now compromised. If information is changed, it could be invalidated from a regular transaction, and we need to avoid that. So what do we do? Well, for individuals, we need to check our credit reports, which we talked about, and put a credit freeze. For businesses, well, businesses need to be the first line of defense. And that comes through educating of their employees, because we all are human. We make mistakes, and we depend on technology to give us protection and to protect us from cyber criminals. So as humans, we must have our employees trained. It starts there. From the front desk person who answers your telephone to the CFO and C-level groups of your organization. Everybody needs to know about cybersecurity awareness training. That's right, folks, cybersecurity awareness training. And it's more than just Googling something on YouTube or reading an employee policy and trying to figure something out. That is not enough. That is not enough, folks. Because there's talk of coming up with more audits for businesses to see if they have policies in place regarding cyber. In other words, what would a company do once they have a notification and they are aware that their company was compromised, that there was a data breach? Would they immediately do something about it or not? Or would they wait to see how it would affect them in the public like Target did? And it looks like that's what Equifax is looking at too, why they took 40 days to find out about the cyber attack. And why they didn't have proper procedures in place. Maybe they did, according to the news story, that there was a vulnerability in the web browser, meaning that all the applications on the desktop and in the server could be at top notch, but there possibly was a vulnerability in the web-based application at Equifax that caused that information to be compromised by the cyber hacker. Then, after that compromise is done, it lets them in where they can do damage to the system or go in and just download data, take data from the company. So it's something we should be concerned with as well. And there's a second one too I want to talk about in this, take a minute or so to talk about. Recently, there was discussions made about Facebook being involved or having something to do with the Russian hacking that happened in the last presidential election last year. When Facebook was asked about this, Facebook said that they had no involvement in it and they weren't aware of any sort of activities that Russia was having or any other foreign government into the presidential election. Well, it now recently just come out that Facebook did receive over $100,000 in ads to promote negative information about presidential candidates on Facebook. So now that's come out. So now this is information that is very important to know, that our social media and our new form of communicating with each other using Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, blogs on websites can be penetrated by hackers, but they're using social engineering in a sense. In other words, using propaganda with ads that you click on, it takes you to another site with other information. And it's information, folks, a lot of times it's fake. It's fake news. That's how the term fake news started. So it's something to be aware of. All we're suggesting, and just asking the question here, I'm just asking the question, If this did happen, we need to make it aware of everyone to understand that it happened, and we need to do our part to mitigate it where it doesn't happen like this again and in the future. We must do our part, and that's educating our employees. So for that, you can go on the internet and you can find all kinds of companies that you could have cybersecurity awareness training. But if you listen to our show, we promote that. We've been promoting that for years, or decades, I should say. Cybersecurity awareness. You can find that quite easily by going to my website at macjacksonjr.com and sign up your employees. Sign up your employees for one of our seminars on cybersecurity awareness, where they'll understand some of the tricks or some of the schemes and the scams. Schemes and scams, yeah, that's a new term I'm going to use. Schemes and scams that the cyber hackers are utilizing to get your information. And it goes more than just phishing for emails, folks. While you're studying phishing for emails and you're watching emails, cyber criminals are looking at other ways of getting into your system. It's like a wag the dog. You're looking at one thing and they're trying to find another way to get to your data. So you always have to be either neck and neck with them or one step ahead of them. And it's been very difficult to do both. But really what makes it harder, folks, if you don't have the employees trained and with you at the same time. So that's very, very important to be part of that as well. Cybersecurity awareness training, folks. Cybersecurity awareness training, that's what's needed. If you'd like to find out more information about that, contact my office at MJ Computer Concepts at 702-868-0808. That's 702-868-0808. And we'll definitely give you some information on what you should do, your next steps in your business and in your personal life to protect your privacy and your information from cyber criminals. I'm going to give a thanks also to Channel 3 News, local affiliate here in Las Vegas at NBC, for an interview they did yesterday with me regarding this breach with Equifax. Folks, this is a very, very serious issue. Other cybersecurity experts are saying this is like one of the biggest cyber attacks we've had in history that has affected us. And it leads into, it's going to be years. This was like our tsunami. It's going to lead into years of trying to rectify this. Maybe we're going to change the way we do credit now. Maybe the FICO score system will be changed and we have a different way of doing it because we're depending upon databases to have millions and millions of information, transactions about the way we spend money. And if that is hacked into, not just to copy it, but if it's tampered with, to change scores maybe, it could be devastating to our global economy. Something to think about, folks. Just asking the questions. That's all I'm doing, just asking the questions. But the answer I have for you is cybersecurity awareness education. Now you know how to get it. Cybersecurity awareness education. A couple apps I want to add to this segment. If you're using your browser, folks, and you need to protect your passwords, okay? Protect your passwords. You need to change your passwords regularly, but try to remember your password, and changing it can be a daunting task. I would recommend using a system that can change your password for you on a regular basis, however many times you have it changed, setting it up, and also create or generate a password for you that is sophisticated with all of the recommendations that your password should have, upper, lowercase letters, special characters, all of that. And remember what it is. The system will also encrypt the information, folks. Encrypted, so it means it cannot be read by cyber criminals if they were to break into your system to read your password. All you have to remember is one user ID and one password. Something that only you will know and cyber criminals will not. The company, folks, is called LastPass, LASTPASS.com. LastPass. Contact LastPass and find out information about that, and that would be able to help you out. If you have other information on that, again, go to my website, macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Send me your email, folks. I'll read your emails. I read them all and answer your questions regarding cybersecurity, identity theft, and fraud. And definitely let me know if that could be anything that we can do for you to protect your privacy with your organization. Absolutely be able to help you out with it. So again, folks, it's macjacksonjr.com, or send me an email at info@macjacksonjr.com, and we'll be able to give you information. Go to my website, check out my book I have as well. I have a book also being sold there, and other information. Folks, we'll be right back here in Technology Review after these important messages. Thank you.